Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the sort of live version of Racers News Network Live. Due to soft-skinned people in Facebook land, we have to do it by tape, if you will. So, but we're really happy to have our guest who's going to be talking with us in just a few minutes. Of course, I talk about Jared LEDFORD and the man, the myth, the legend, who just got out a few minutes ago because of the joys of being a business owner. Of course, I'm talking about the man, Pete Senka. How are you, buddy?
Good. How you doing, bub?
Good. How's
How's
how's things in how's things in Senka universe?
It's I'm definitely not bored. We got a lot of stuff going on, that's for sure.
Again, the greatest comment that he's ever made to me was the state of Connecticut could help put a man on the moon, but they can't do a whole hell of a lot else.
Yeah, it's about what it comes down to.
So again, Pete, our guest joining us tonight, I'm going to pass it off to you. Of course, Jared LEDFORD, one of your IHRA champs for 2022. So Pete, go ahead and take it away.
Hey, Jared, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. First things first, I got to congratulate you on a killer season. You
Thank
are
you.
the man. What class did you win a championship in?
Top ET.
Excellent. So I'm going to start off with you explaining, because we're basically a Division I NHRA show. Not that NHRA sponsors us or anything, it's just kind of what we know.
Right.
But IHRA is always something that I wanted to learn a lot more about. So basically, I'm going to take advantage of you, and you're going to explain to me the process, along with anyone else who's going to be listening in on how IHRA works and how you got to where you are.
So to get to the World Finals, it pretty much for IHRA, if you win you have to have a Summit Super Series number, which goes through IHRA.
Okay.
And then you get that at the beginning of the year, the springtime or whatever, and you accumulate points throughout the year. And if you win your track championship, you automatically get to go down to the World Finals.
Okay.
Or for like the bracket finals deal, if you win that, like if you win in your class at the bracket finals, you also get to go to the World Finals. So it's a pretty cool deal. I mean, there was a 6-round race at the bracket finals for a 20 grander. So I mean, free entry, and you go down there and race for 20 grand. It's pretty cool deal once you get down there.
It's funny because you hear a lot of people talking about NHRA.
Right.
Obviously, they're the biggest organization going. But I've never heard, like with any other big organization, you hear the compliments and the complaints, right? It's typical.
Yeah.
With the exception of the amount of tracks in certain parts of the country, you never really hear anybody bitch about IHRA as far as the people that are competing in the IHRA.
Right.
You'll get someone that's IHRA ignorant like me and say, "Oh, screw that racing. That's Bush League or whatever," and obviously I would never say that, but you hear it.
Right.
And I think of it, a lot of it is just because people don't really know what's going on. I will tell you that I raced one IHRA event when Epping, New Hampshire was IHRA, and I raced the national event, and I felt like I was treated like royalty there. Super, super friendly. I mean, the thing that got me was the cookie at the time slip booth. I mean, short, fat guy like me looks forward to stuff like that. So, so we'll take it. But yeah, I mean, tell us your experience with IHRA and how local the tracks are to you, and how long you've been doing it for, and all that good stuff.
So I guess to start off, my grandmother actually owns the Mid-Michigan Motorplex where I race at every week.
Excellent.
And then my dad is actually the track manager. So it's been a part of my life ever since I was born.
Fantastic.
And I think 3 or 4 years ago, we have been NHRA since the early 2000s. We switched from IHRA, and then I think 2017, 18, we switched back to IHRA because, I mean, the biggest reason was the bracket finals team. Hey, we had to go to Indy when we were NHRA, and we only got 9 or 10 people to go down there, and it wasn't a very like team atmosphere type deal.
Right.
And IHRA, the bracket finals is at US 131 Motorsports Park, which is an hour and a half from Mid Michigan Motorplex.
Yep.
So to fill a bracket finals team, it was a lot more competitive at this racetrack. To get a team of 50. And this past year, we actually had 70 people sign up, and we had to get down to 50 to go to the bracket finals, and it was pretty cutthroat the last month and a half racing. But yeah, it's more convenient for us and the racers to go with that route rather than stay NHRA and kind of half-ass have a bracket finals team rather than, I mean, because every year we went since, we've won a participation award, some sort of decorated award, best looking team, something like that. And it's like it brings us closer together at the racetrack.
Sure. Now, how many tracks compete at your bracket finals for NHRA?
For NHRA?
No, I'm sorry, for IHRA.
I think there's 9.
Okay.
I believe there's 8 or 9, I believe.
And how many divisions do you guys have?
Like
NHRA has 7 divisions. How many do you guys have?
I'm not sure of that, honestly, off the top of my head. I think it's at least 9. I'm not 100% sure though.
Wow. Okay, cool.
There are quite a few divisions. I'm not sure off the top of my head how many.
So I went to a couple of NHRA bracket finals. All right. And I haven't done any in the last 10 years, but the couple I went to were pretty massive.
Yes.
As far as the amount of tracks and the amount of people and all that stuff. Now it's come down quite a bit from what I hear. Again, it's not firsthand me being there, but what's a typical IHRA bracket finals like for you when you roll through the gate?
There's a lot less people there rather than like compared to the Division 3 NHRA one we went to.
Okay.
I believe that I think the Division 3 NHRA one had like 15 to 20 tracks, and there was like 1,000 cars on the property. Like It was ridiculous. But the IHRA one it's a lot less than that. I think there's 300-400 cars, which, I mean, there's still a lot, but
I know that sounds more like a Division 1 NHRA bracket finals.
yeah.
I remember we used to have, it felt like 15 or 20 tracks.
Yeah.
Now I think it's closer to 9 or 10.
Yeah.
I honestly kind of like it a little smaller because 1,000 cars at an event is like, holy Christ.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, you're not kidding. It seems like the IHRA deal is more of like a homey, not that it's any less competitive, but it seems like you said, it's more team, togetherness and stuff, and it's got more of like a family feel to it.
Yeah, it's more, I mean, it's more of like a grassroots bracket racer type deal. I mean, the bracket finals, I think it pays $2,500 to win, and you get a Iron Man and a gold card and stuff, I believe.
Yeah.
But like the world finals, like I'm getting a custom made fire jacket, a ring. I got an Iron Man. I mean, just a whole bunch of stuff.
That's awesome.
It's more, you don't have to drive to Pomona, California to go race against
a
couple other people, but it's just more convenient for us and where we're located.
Sure. All right. So now that you got us all caught up on IHRA etiquette, tell us about your season. How did you start out? How did you get to where you are? And how did you earn that ring?
It started out fairly well in my Camaro. It was going. I mean, I believe I was in two or three finals before Memorial Day weekend, and we started at the end of April as for our first points weekend, and then Memorial Day weekend, I actually had a motor issue and had some lifters go out, so I had to completely rebuild the motor. And that was 2 weeks after that is when that dragster got done that I won the world championship in. And the actual owner of that, Steve Bueller, we've talked about wanting me to drive for him, and we got that finished. And the first weekend out with that, I won.
Wow.
So we tested Friday, raced Saturday, Sunday, and I won on Sunday. And from there on out, I raced that all of July, and then my Camaro motor actually got finished at the end of July. And I took that to a little local track, Northern Michigan Dragway up by us, and the first night out, I won with it again.
Wow.
But it was just a pretty successful season, honestly. I don't remember exactly how many finals or runner-ups, but I believe I was at least 6 or 7 finals. And I won 3 or 4 of them, I believe. But it was all good until the last weekend. I rolled into Labor Day weekend. I rolled into our points, and I was sitting third, 20 or 30 points out of the lead, and you get 10 points per round.
Yep.
So Saturday, the points leader lost second round, and the guy in front of me lost first round. And then I won first and second round. So that put me, and then I won third round, I believe. So then I was 10 points behind the leader going into the last day.
Yep.
And then he lost second round again on Sunday, and I won second round. So we were tied, and then I won third round. And then after that, I mean, after that, I was just kind of like carefree, like biggest stress reliever ever. Yeah. So want to celebrate. So
Yep.
yeah, the last weekend was pretty big weekend, but it worked out well. And then yeah, it worked out good down in Holly Springs too.
Nice. Good. So tell us more about the car that you started the year with, and then the dragster.
So the Camaro, we've had that since I've been 14, I believe. We were kind of looking around after I quit racing junior at 14. I just kind of got sick of it, if I'm going to be honest. Like it was boring to me watching a junior when I could go help my dad out and watch him race and be successful there.
Yep.
But we started looking around for a car, and we actually found it and went and got it. And then we started working on it. And by the time I was 16, I turned 16 in October. So the whole season was already done by the time I could actually race.
Right.
So as soon as I could, when I turned 17 that spring, I started racing with it. And I've had that, like I said, since I was been 14. And I won a championship with that in 2019. It's been really good for me. It's definitely paid for itself.
Nice.
And then the dragster is a 2022 Ultratech car. And I work at Ultratech, so I had a helping hand in finishing it and everything, building it, wiring, plumbing, all stuff like that. And yeah, when I got that final win light the first weekend with it, it was like another big stress reliever. Like, holy crap, we can actually make this thing work. And then the rest of the season, it was pretty good with it.
It's like vindication for all the hard work, right?
Yeah, it was
maybe I do kind of know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good stuff. So give me, if you had to pick out one highlight for the year, one round, one magical, like, oh my God moment, what was it? It sounds like you had a lot of highlights, so I'm sure.
Yeah, there were a bunch. I'd say probably that first win in the Ultratech, the dragster. That's probably the top one, and the second closest one is probably the first win in the Camaro after we got the motor fixed, because that was up there too. I mean, it was a pretty cool deal.
Now I got to tell you, from the outside looking in, I would have picked the round that you took over the points lead in.
Yeah, well, I probably shouldn't say this, but the round I won the points,
Yep.
I was 60 total to win the round,
Whatever.
and I was dead on. I can tell you that. Yeah, yeah, it wasn't good. So
Listen,
that was that. I would kind of keep trying to keep that one a little low key, but
if you were 60 total, as long as the other person was 61 or worse, that's all that counts, right?
yeah, it was. Yeah, I still feel bad because it was just like I shouldn't have won. Like
Well, you know
it
what?
was a crazy deal.
I'm sure there's a lot of rounds during the course of the year that you had to grind out.
Yeah,
I'm sure you lost a couple of squeakers that you probably shouldn't have. So
yeah,
let's face it, it's a game of averages, right?
yeah. It worked out well.
You got to do your part to be in position to get lucky. So I'm sure
Right.
you did. Without a doubt. That's awesome. So this is your second championship?
Yes.
All right. Now, what is the class that you won the championship in?
Top ET for both.
Okay. Now, top ET is what for IHRA?
Super Pro, delay
Gotcha.
box
So,
class.
delay box,
Yeah.
two-step, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Excellent. Good stuff. And how long have you been racing Super Pro or top ET?
Since I was 16. That was the first class I started in. I've done a little bit of no box stuff, but I'm better off the top.
I hear you. I know that feeling well. Every once in a while, I get adventurous with the practice tree, and then realize why I have a delay box in my.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. So let me ask you a question. Any future plans? Different classes, different cars, anything like that?
I might, if you're just talking about it, I might try to run the Camaro a little bit more in no box this season and try and race it, stay focused with the dragster in box.
Yeah.
But I was going to do that last year too, and it never really worked out. So we'll kind of just, see how it goes.
Okay, so someone waves a magic wand and says you could pick any type of car in any class that you want. What are you picking?
Ooh, this is tough. There's so many.
Now, IHRA, are they still known for their Mountain Motor Pro stocks?
No, they haven't. I don't believe they've done those in a while.
Gotcha.
They're more.
They don't really have the national events anymore. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, no, they don't.
They don't.
No,
Okay.
it's more of strictly just bracket racing stuff now.
Right.
Ooh.
Listen, I'll let you come over to the NHRA side too if you want to pick something. Go ahead.
Okay. Man, I really like pro stock.
Yep.
I'd say pro stock or comp probably. Like I want like a high winding stick shift something. I just want something.
Okay, now are you team elite or team KB?
Team elite.
Team elite. You and pretty much everyone else, including me, Chris, you name it.
Now, if we're talking like PDRA stuff, pro nitrous all the way. That is the baddest class on the planet.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Very cool. Good. Now, with the bracket racing stuff for IHRA, do they still do top sportsman, top dragster?
They do not. They don't really hardly have any of those. Like I think they were called pro-ams before.
Okay.
I don't think they have hardly any of those anymore.
So it's basically just box, no box.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dragster stuff.
All sportsman stuff. I mean, super pro, juniors, sportsman, stuff like that.
Oh, it's really like it turned into like a grassroots thing now.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty cool. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. Go ahead, Chris.
So does it kind of feel like IHRA is going through a rebirth over the past few months leading into next year?
It's definitely interesting on what's happening with it all. Because like there's some answers, but then there's some not answers. So you don't really know what you're getting into.
Right.
but all of the tracks up by us have signed with the WDRA, so it's kind of interesting to try and to see just to see how it goes. I mean, they both have good outlooks. It's just a matter of how you feel about them. But
That's got to be kind of a kick in the gut for Larry Jeffers, right?
yeah,
He steps up to the plate, he buys IHRA, and then all of a sudden you got this new league coming out that's signing tracks like it's going out of style.
yeah,
That's
sure.
got to be he's got to be scratching his head saying, really? Of all the years that I could have bought at HRA, 5 minutes later, this new organization comes out.
Right.
Hopefully everything works out for the best.
There are some that were IHRA in our neck of the woods that have gone over to the WDRA because you have Empire. I believe MIR did. Actually, MIR did because the owner of that track, I think, is one of the founders of WDRA.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting because I mean, I know growing up, excuse me, IHRA was always a southern tier sanctioning body, and I think Pete came up in the same basic era as my thinking on that too. And then once you kind of got to like the Mason-Dixon line, you jumped over into NHRA country, almost, sort of.
So have you heard anything as far as Larry Jeffers' visions, or I figured you being hooked up with track owners in your family, have you heard anything that he's looking to do differently?
I haven't, honestly. I haven't. I don't really know what's gonna happen next year. I haven't heard much, but I haven't looked for answers either. So I just kind of play it by ear and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, especially Chris, because he really likes to dig deep into that stuff. It's kind of been mum's the word, right? You haven't
Pretty
heard
much, other than the fact that um I don't know, a month, 6 weeks ago, whatever it was now, the WDRA posted a list of tracks, and it was, I don't remember if it was 30 or 50 tracks swap sanctioning bodies to them.
right.
And then supposedly they had like another 30 or so that they were in negotiations with. So the rumor mill says 50 to 80 tracks are making the switch.
Gotcha.
So the rumor mill is what it is. So you got to take it for whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
all right, so Jared, we're at the part of the show where we give you the opportunity to thank sponsors, family, your host and co-host for tonight, whoever you want to thank.
I appreciate you guys having me on. It's really cool. Like I said, it's the first time I've done one of these, and it's a pretty cool deal.
Hopefully we didn't leave too bad of an experience with you.
No, it's been good.
Good.
I'd like to thank my family, my mom, my dad, my grandparents. They actually came down to Holly Springs and hung out a little bit. They made the 12-hour trip from Michigan, so it was pretty cool to see them. BS, this guy, he helps with all of our stuff. We call him BS. His name's Bill Smith. He helps do all of the Camaro maintenance, all of the maintenance in general. I'd like to thank Steve Bueller for letting me drive his stuff and making it look good. He makes me look good too. But that car definitely makes me look a lot better than I made it look. Because it's a lot better than I am. Same with my Camaro. I'd like to thank Ultratech, APD, Hoosier, Pro Systems, C2 Converters, Abruzzi, FTI, Todd's Extreme Paint. It's just there's a lot.
I know. Who builds your motors for you?
For the Camaro, we go through More Power up by us. It's a local place, and Engine Pro helps us out with all the parts. Rob Letsky helps us out get them too. But for the dragsters, APD, John Kyle and Joey Hessling help us out big there.
Yeah, Joey has helped me with some carburetors in the past, and I got a Joey carburetor on my car right now that I didn't get much use out of this year, but it definitely wasn't the fault of the carburetor. That's for damn sure. Yeah, it's good. What kind of power plant do you run in both cars?
The dragster is a 632 SR20 motor. And then the Camaro is just a 406 small block Chevy.
Nice. Excellent. Good stuff. Well, listen, we appreciate you coming on. And honestly, I'm looking forward to doing this interview again with you next year.
Me too.
Good stuff. Thank you for your time, my friend. We appreciate
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Jared. I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us, buddy.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Hey, you too. See
All
ya.
right.
everybody. Thank you.
Jared Ledford, our guest for tonight, everybody. Like I said, we are taping the show, so it'll be posted a little while after we conclude this evening. But also actually got a lot of stuff to talk about, and one kind of odd random thing that I came across the other day. Shocking, I know. Let's start off with the odd random thing I came up with. I saw the other day. Hood scoops.
Yep.
All kinds of crazy designs.
Really?
Well, you have the wide opening, like that. You have
Right.
the one that most people run now that has the opening, kind of goes up like that. What's the take from your point of view? Because obviously I know the one that's on your car.
Right.
Is it aerodynamic? Is it aesthetics? Is it the amount of air that thing will flow into your carburetor or your fuel injection or whatever the case may be?
Yes.
Give me a racer's point of view on that.
So I will tell you, yes.
Yes.
I haven't by no stretch have researched hood scoops. Whenever I picked out a hood scoop for my car, it was always what, in my opinion, I thought looked the best. Pro stock 500 cubic inch, 11,000 RPM or 10.5, whatever they're limited to now. Of course, they're not even allowed hood scoops anymore, but back when they were, there was definitely functionality without a doubt. And they spent a boatload of time, smaller frontal area to cut through the air, but still allowing the maximum amount of air in and all that stuff. For what we do, I don't believe, I've never went to go buy a scoop and had someone say to me, don't get that scoop. It performs like garbage. It's strictly what you like, the way it looks. If you're going to seal up the base of the carburetor to the scoop, or if your theory is to let some of the heat off the motor come up and try and dry up some of the humidity coming in through the scoop. But I think for your average 990 car and slower, and when I say 990, I mean super gas or slower, I think it's strictly just what you like to look at more so than functionality.
Cool. Now, obviously, like when you made the change in your car, you had the hood scoop.
Right.
You went to the cowl induction.
Correct.
And then you had to go, because of motor reasons, you had to go back to the hood scoop.
Right.
Could you have gone to a smaller overall length and it would have performed the same?
I could have cut a hole in my hood and gotten one of those Lexan scoops and just slapped it on top if I wanted to.
Slap the newspaper box on there.
The only reason why I have a scoop on my car is because I do not have hood clearance. If there was a way that I could get the package that I have right now under a cowl hood that wasn't 12 inches tall, I would never run a hood scoop on my car, just because I'm not a real big fan of the way they look.
Right.
For me, it's just kind of a necessary evil. If I could run a flat hood, I'd run a flat hood.
Fair enough. Cool. Yeah, like I said, it's just something I stumbled across trolling around the other day, and I just thought it was cool because, like I said, the person posted 5, 6, 7 pictures of different styles of hood scoops,
right?
And just said, okay, why this one, why that one, why that one, why that one, why that, So basically, what it comes down to, and especially in the sportsman world, is aesthetics. What you think looks cool.
I believe it is. Now, there might be someone out there who has a, 8-second car and they've tried a couple of different hood scoops and they might have had one perform better for them than others. I never have. I've never heard of anyone in my ET or mile per hour range saying that one is better than the other. So I guess I'm kind of ignorant to it, but I believe that most people, when they're picking out a hood scoop and the Sportsman ET mile per hour range, that they're strictly just getting what they like to look at more so than anything else.
Gotcha. All right, one more part of the hood scoops. The air filter in the inlet or the air filter over the carburetor?
That's a good question. I run an air filter on my carburetor. Jeff Kondratek hooked me up with one. I actually had a weird issue with my car that I fought for a while and could never quite figure out what it was. Going down the track, foot to the floor, obviously, from right in the beginning, you leave with a trans brake, the car goes. I would get about 1,000, 1,100 feet out, and I could almost feel the car like sort of bog or lay over a little bit. And I played with jetting, I played with timing, I played with everything. I mean, I fought this thing for legit every bit of a year and a half, 2 years. And one thing that I did notice, and I don't know how I noticed it, but when it started to fall on its face a little bit, if I took the gas pedal and just came back a hair, it would pick back up and pull right through the beams. And I could never figure out for the life of me why. I wasn't picking it up enough where like it was a lean condition and I was just cutting off the air. I mean, when I tell you, it was just a matter of me coming up a half an inch on the gas pedal. It was like next to nothing, but it would make all the difference between pulling hard all the way and not. And I don't know how I was talking to Jeff Kondratek one day, and he gave me a K&N air cleaner, and the base of it was kind of funneled, and it was just a nice smooth transmission into the carburetor, and it had a super tall air cleaner element, and the top lid was an element and all that stuff. And I put that thing on and I went right down Broadway. He said what happened was I had a lot of turbulence under the hood scoop and it was just doing weird stuff under there. I never tried, I probably should have tried just taking the hood right off and making it pass, and it probably would have made a difference. But just that base with the smooth transition or the filter calming everything down, it made all the difference in the world. And from that point on, I always ran an air cleaner. So I never tried the one in the front of the scoop. I would say as long as it flows the CFM and you don't have a turbulence problem inside the scoop like I did, then I think both would be equally effective. But I'm just prone to the one with the smoother base that just smoothens the air going into the carburetor.
Fair enough. All right, so this past weekend pretty much wrapped up the Division One. Not obviously all the NHR stuff, but just Division One. There's still some random events that are happening down in the warmer areas of the East Coast, but for all intents and purposes, we are closed for business until April or so.
Yeah.
So the Dutch Classic, they predicted rain for Sunday, so they decided to kind of abbreviate the event and run till done on Saturday.
And I gotta say, hats off to whoever made that call. They made it early enough in the week where if people decided it wasn't for them, they had enough time to stay home and cancel. But for the most part, they got the event off, which is the Dutch brings in a boatload of cars. They have a boatload of categories and it brings in a lot of cars. And the fact that they were able to pull that whole thing off, hats off to NHRA and the Maple Grove crew for making that happen. That was a pretty that was a pretty big accomplishment.
Absolutely. And they avoided any big incidents. There was one small one, I guess Sean Lanigan somehow drifted over into Taylor Novil's lane, but there
Right.
was no contact made, no harm, no foul,
Yep.
other than kind of skating around a little bit.
And a couple of seasoned drivers that kind of knew what they were doing there, you know?
Luckily, yeah. So like I said, they cut it down by a day, but they got it all in. They had the Hemi Challenge as well, and a past tense, not too long ago, guest of ours, Steve Camella, was your winner in that beautiful red gear jamming Hemi car of his.
Yep.
So he won the Hemi Challenge. Richard K in Super Stock, Shane Oaks in stock, and then also Shane Oaks reset the national record for his class in super stock.
Very cool.
So let's see, Vince Forcati, hopefully I said that right, in super gas. Jesse Alexander in comp running a Copo, and Greg Hayes in super comp. Doug Fellenbaum Jr. in Super Street, Mike Esposito in Top Dragster, and George Forrester in Top Sportsman. Those are all your winners from the Dutch this weekend. Again,
Congratulations to you guys and girls. Great job. Great job.
so like I said, luckily they got it in. The only complaint that I have, and oh, by the way, I have to give kudos to Bobby Fazio for fixing the computer
Yeah.
to
It's
get
funny.
that live broadcast back and running.
Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to watch any of the live broadcasts, but sitting on my couch at night scrolling through Facebook, I saw, sorry, it's broken. We can't fix it. And then a couple hours later, it's like, oh, Bob fixed it. We're good. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, pretty cool.
So big kudos go out to Bobby Fazio
Yeah, very cool.
fixing that and so they can wrap up the weekend live. I don't know what we talked about this numerous times. I don't know what it is about open events, but getting qualifying sheets and results, unless you're there or you know somebody who's there who has the time to check it out for you,
Right.
possible.
Which is weird because it's, I mean, obviously I'm wrong in what I'm saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. So hopefully someone will correct me. But it's like the same crew as a D1 race.
Yeah.
Right? Same personnel, same. So there's got to be something that's different between the Dutch Classic and the Virginia race that we can't get the info. There's got to be one key element that's missing somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but all the opens are very consistently terrible for giving us info, and
Yep.
all the divisionals are great at getting us info. So it's weird.
I had the opportunity to briefly talk with one of the Maple Grove employees the other day, and they said, the sad part is in 2022, this stuff should be automatic. It should happen as it happens.
It should. I mean, again, it's easy for us to say sitting here that it should when we have nothing to do with it or no knowledge on how it could get done. It's going to be like anything else. I'm guessing it's a lot easier said than done, but yeah, you would think, my famous saying that I made up myself. We put a man on the moon 70 friggin' years ago. We can't get results from a race. It's like, but again, like anything else, I'm guessing there's a lot more that goes into it than you and I know. I seriously doubt someone from IH or NHRA is sitting around going, screw Pete and Chris, we're not going to give them the results, right?
You never know.
You never, that is very true.
But yeah, it's just, it's a pain because it's nice to know and people want to know. Yeah, okay, it's that
Right.
whole instant gratification thing,
Right, right,
whatever. But I mean, here I am, 400 or whatever miles away, and it's like
right.
and I don't have the patience to sit in front of the TV and watch it for
Right,
7, 8, 10 hours.
right, right.
Not that I
It
do a
turns
whole
out you
lot
couldn't
of
anyway because the live feed crashed a couple times.
live feed fell on his face. Um,
So I guess now we could officially say, even though we've said it a couple of times already, we could officially say thank you to David Moan for helping us in any way that he could over the years. And congrats on a phenomenal career. And he will definitely be missed in the D1 world, that's for sure. And best of luck to him on his future endeavors.
Absolutely. Haven't always gotten along, and that's okay. But not everything is perfect.
Yep.
That is okay. But yeah, retirement is great, sort of, kind of.
I will tell you one thing, and I don't know that I've ever told you this before, but I caught up with Dave Moan after a disagreement between you two. And I had said something to the effect of, hey, even though you and Chris aren't talking anymore, are you still talking to me? And he laughed and he said, you know what? We don't agree, but he's an advocate for the sport, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that's when you don't see eye to eye with someone, but they could still say that about you. Like, he's a way better man than I am. Someone ever said, I'd be like, oh, screw him, he's a jerk.
He's an asshole.
Right? But and that's pretty much the way Dave Moan did everything. Always with a big touch of class and composure. And I got to tell you, drag racers are the biggest whiny bunch of bitches you've ever met in your life.
Pete, don't hold back. Tell me how you really feel.
And to be the ringleader and take the brunt of 95% of that could not be easy. So the fact that he did it the way he did, and received as much recognition and respect as he's earned, it's going to be very big shoes to fill.
Kind of a little bit of a squirrel moment as far as there was talk that there may not be a banquet this year, but apparently there was an unconfirmed report that February 4th they will be having the Division 1 banquet.
I couldn't imagine. I never heard that rumor, but I couldn't imagine in a million years that they would ever not have a banquet between it being Dave's last year. And I mean, listen, that would be my luck, right? That the year I win a championship in something, they don't have a banquet. But I am telling you something right now. If I'm ever fortunate enough to win a championship, they're going to have to add another wing onto the hall because half of the hall is going to be filled up with people that I invite.
We'll all be throwing stuff at you.
Oh, it's going to be ridiculous. I'm telling you.
Nerf guns.
I will blow every penny that I make during the year. I'm buying tickets for people to come watch me make a fool out of myself when I make a speech.
Good. So obviously we're kind of, again, a little bit of a squirrel moment. Congratulations to Dave. There is another unconfirmed rumor of who the replacement may be. I did reach out to a couple of people, and they can't confirm it at this moment. So we'll just kind of, we'll do like a rumor of fact. Rumor is they did hire a replacement. The fact is we don't know for sure.
Interesting. Okay. I know I've heard of the rumor of who that person might be, but I didn't know that it was like rumored that person was hired already.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, and again, I'm just throwing it out there. If I had to guess, they will probably make an announcement at the banquet. Where
Yeah.
like, hey, congratulations, Dave, and how would you like to announce the new director type of thing? You know?
Bring him up to the podium and
Yeah, which I think
kinda-
would be cool.
hand the keys to the office off to him,
Right.
so to speak.
Right. I think that'd be cool.
That would be cool. So we're getting down to crunch time. We got 2 races left. I actually have the points for Division 1 right here. I think we should go through the top 5.
Okay.
We're gonna kick it off with the class that I love but gives me a headache, Comp Eliminator. So Steve Zipka, first place. Joe Carniscali, second. Number 3, Frank Aragona. Thinking about you, Frank, all the time. Hope everything works out, buddy. Frank's does. I'm sure pretty much everybody in the entire country knows Frank's dealing with some health issues. So hoping
Got
for
a
the
lot of
best.
people pulling for him.
Yep, hoping for the best. And the man who decided to abandon us and go move to Florida, probably near you, maybe. Of course, Santo Volpe. He surrendered his cold weather flag and he's moving on.
Smart man.
Yep. Number 5, Todd Logan. And of course, that is Comp Eliminator. Moving on to Superstock. I have like 804 windows open, so bear with me here. All right. And going back a few years, people love the truck. Remember the UPS commercial? People love the truck. Want to
Yep.
race the truck. Mark Lebrecht, first place, Super Stock Eliminator, followed up by the Terrible Twins. I don't mean that literally. Byron is in second place, 352 points, and Brian is in third, 352 points.
Wow.
Take a while, guess how many events they have each. They've run so far.
I'm gonna say 8.
Both have 7.
Wow, they both got one more, huh? What
Now-
first place, how many points?
374 to second place, 352.
So they're 2 rounds out.
Yeah. So interesting thing. Everybody knows when you gamble, 777s can be your friend.
Yep.
Mark Lebrecht in first place, 7 events. Mark Lebrecht in first place,
Right.
7 events. Byron in second place, 7 events. Brian in third place, 7 events.
Right.
That's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting that they all have one more to claim.
Yeah.
Now the question is, who's gonna travel? Because
Yeah.
there's nothing local. There's nothing even remotely local anymore.
Vegas and Pomona.
Exactly.
Yep. So you have the Vegas Divisional, the Vegas National, and the Pomona National.
Right, and the worst part about it is if you're gonna make that trek, I mean, they could race at all the events, but wouldn't you rather be going out there with like a grade 5 or 6? So that at least you know you could race a couple and they both count, you know? I mean,
Yep.
I wonder who's gonna travel out there.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at the entries after. See who, if there's anybody we know.
Well, the problem is they need a divisional and they won't show
Well, that,
entries for a divisional. You'll have to wait till the qualifying sheet comes
yeah,
out.
that's true. Fourth place, Peter Diagnola, who was on a hot streak after his win at the US Nationals, and then the
He's done his
following
share of winning
weekend.
this year, that's for sure.
Yep. He won a couple of bucks up at Empire, and then he also had a runner up at Charlotte for the ZMAX. And number 5, another member of the Camaro Brigade, Herbie Null Jr. So 5th place to first place is 366 points, 65 points, excuse me.
Yeah.
So I guess you could almost kind of sort of call that wide open. if anybody wants to hit the road.
Right.
All right, moving on to stock eliminator. First place, stock eliminator. No big surprise here. Joe Santangelo the second. Shane Oaks. Be curious to see if Shane hits Vegas because he's only 11 points out. But he has eight of Shane has eight of
Yeah, it is a shame because I actually saw him in Orlando 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that was Shane's last race.
Okay. Yeah, so he's 11 points out. He's in second place, 382 points. Third place, Bubba Linke, 360 points. Fourth, Billy Pyers, 329. And fifth, David Barton, 309. And there's another 777 in third, fourth, and fifth in stock eliminator. Moving on to Super Comp. First place, Mike Robolato, 320. Actually, points wise, there's a tie. Robolato in first, Michael Handress in second. Both actually, there's a three-way tie. Excuse me.
Wow.
Points wise, there's a three-way tie.
Right.
So Robolato in first, 320. Mike Handress in second, 320. Lee Ream, 320 points. Now,
Wow.
Robolato has 7 events. Handress has 6. Lee Ream has 7 events.
Wow.
So let me ask you this because I don't know. Would the person with the lower number of events that accumulated that amount of points could be your champion, correct?
Could be, yeah, if that person traveled. But if there's a tie, doing it in lesser events isn't considered part of the tiebreaker.
Okay. I wasn't sure about, so I wanted to know.
I believe, and I'm not sure if I have the order of circumstances right, but one of the tiebreakers is event wins. Another one of the tiebreakers is head-to-head matchups with whoever you're tied with, obviously, if it's a tiebreaker. I'm not sure what comes first, what comes second, but I know they have like 3 or 4 things in place to break the tie. I'm shocked that there is a 3-way tie. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And again, because there's only 2 events left and they're a million miles away, you got to wonder if anyone's going to be willing to travel. And if someone is willing to travel, now Vegas is a divisional and a national, correct? And Pomona, there's no divisional, it's just a national. So there is only one event. It's just the Vegas divisional is the only points earner.
Yeah.
When we're talking about divisional points, not obviously not national points.
Right.
Do you travel all the way out there to try and win a Division I Super Cup title? Financially, it wouldn't pay. That's for damn sure. Even if you went out there and won the race and the championship, you're still not paying enough to cover that event. But
Right.
you get your name in the record books. That's something that they can't take away.
Yeah. All right, 4th place in Super Comp and NHRA Division 1, Thomas Smith. He is 21 points out of 3rd place to make it a possible 4-way tie. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I mean, again, you're in 4th place. You're not going to go out to Vegas, I wouldn't think. I mean, unless you're already going out there for something else or whatever, but.
Yeah. 5th place, Kent Hanley. Man who races everything, 287 points. So actually, Smith is claimed out. He's got 8 events.
Yeah.
So now that I actually look at it. All right. Super Gas.
Now, the other thing that we don't know is you're only allowed to claim so many events out of division. So even though they have a 7 or a 6 next to them, if they did 3 races out of division, they might not be able to travel. Obviously, they could travel, but it might not go towards our points. I believe I'm going to get this wrong, but I believe you're allowed 8 events. You're allowed to claim 3 out of division and 5 in. I could be wrong with those numbers, but if there's already 3 that are claimed, I don't think you could do anymore.
All right. Super gas. First place, Rick Homan, whatever. 319 points. Second place, Hank Smith with 300. They both have 8 events. Number 3, Jason Kenny, 296 points.
How many
Fourth
events
place.
does Jason have?
I'm sorry?
How many events does Jason have?
He has 296 points and he has 7 events. He's the one that would roll the dice and take the drive.
Yeah, that might happen.
That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Fourth place, Rich Price, 290 points, 6 events. And our buddy, the man his wife took pictures of them taking the race cars apart in the driveway, Frank Volpe,
Volpe?
289 points, 7 events. I was waiting for you to talk.
Nah, I got nothing.
Of course, you know what the next
That's
class
Volpe.
is.
Now that's Volpe Jr., correct?
Super gas, yeah, that's junior,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah, I gotta tell you,
dad runs Top Sportsman.
I think this was his first full year racing that car in Super Gas. That's a
Not
hell of a
bad.
year.
Yeah,
That's a hell of a year.
yeah, because he had the Camaro last year, right?
In Super Street,
In
correct?
Super Street, yeah. All right, so NHRA Division 1 Super Street. It's over essentially.
You might as well just start from second and go down.
Yeah, I'm gonna
We
start
already know
with
who
second.
first is.
First place, our buddy who was actually on with us last week, Keith Mayers. He's got a commanding lead. I mean,
How many points does he have?
he has 431, 6 events. So he's got over Kyle Bigley, who's in second place. He's got a 150 point lead.
Now here's the really impressive part.
Okay.
Not that it's all not totally impressive, but excuse me. Look at the points total for the person that's in first place in Super Comp and do the same for Super Gas.
Okay, bear with me.
I believe one was 330 and one was 310.
First place, Super Gas, 319.
319.
Okay. Super Comp, waiting for that to load.
I think that was 310.
320 points, Mike Robolato.
Okay, so 319 and 320. How many points does Keith have?
431.
Over 100 points over the respective winners in the other 2 classes. And he's only got a grade 6.
And he's got less events than
Right.
they do.
That's what I'm saying. He's only got a
Yep.
grade 6. That's incredible. I mean,
Now, I didn't realize, and I mentioned this to you, I don't know, beginning of the week, whatever it was, beginning last week, middle of the week. I didn't realize that Keith raced for a living.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I knew he did a lot of racing. I didn't know that that was actually his job.
I distinctly heard him say that this is my living. I had no idea of that.
Well, I got to tell you, he's doing a hell of a job.
No. We got a sneak peek of the chassis of his new car too.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to go back and see that.
Yeah. And he was taking it to Maple Grove to get it certified this past weekend.
Oh, very cool.
All right. So again, Super Street NHRA Division One, the man, the myth, the multiple time champion, the double gold card winner, essentially for all intents and purposes.
Right.
Keith Mayers in the Porsche. People love the Porsche. So second place, Kyle Bigley, 281 points. Sean Frick, 268 points. Now, oh, here we go. We have another tie. Sean Frick and Jonathan Leahy. Jonathan is in fourth place, 268 points. They both, again, both have 268 points. Both have 6 events.
Now, I believe they're going to have to figure out a tiebreaker with them because I think the division pays top 3. So fourth place doesn't pay. How do I know that? Because I finished 4th. One spot out of the money as usual. Yeah, so they're going to have to put that tiebreaker into effect for that. So I believe it's race wins and then it's head-to-head competition. I believe that's how it goes.
And in fifth place, Peter's friend in Vegadum, of course, Christy Pascal. 258 points, 5 events. All right, moving on to Top Dragster. Now, some have said this is confirmed. Some have said it is not confirmed yet. Some have said that Al Kenny is your Division One Top Dragster champ.
Right.
And some have said he is not yet.
All right, so let's play out the scenario. He's obviously in the lead.
No, actually, Albert Stefari Jr., 325 points, 5 events. Al Kenny, another one's going to fill up the gas. Probably fill up the gas tank and hit the road.
Right.
Al Kenny, 325 points, 7 events.
So why are people saying that Al Kenny's the champion?
I can't give you an honest answer because I don't know. That's just what I was told by someone. Our friend.
That's interesting.
So that'll be another one that will play out and see what happens.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. I always figured just by looking at numbers that you were the champion in an event like this or a class like this, whatever. You and me are tied for points.
Right.
You got your points in less events than I did. In my head, I would think you would be the winner. But you know what I mean? It's like looking at that to me says we both had a good season, but you had just a little bit better of a season.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. And listen, at the end of the day, though, it's still a points total.
Yep.
And they allow you so many races to achieve that total. So,
right.
I'm confused by that whole because I heard the same thing that Al was the champion, but it's not even showing him in first place there. That's why I'm a little confused.
Correct.
Just out of curiosity, when you're done going down the list, see if you can look up world points.
I can do that.
Because is it a possibility he's in the lead for the world, not the division? And that's what people are talking about?
We'll finish this up. We'll finish top sportsman, and then I'll pull up national points. Third place, Brandon Miller, 324 points. So he's got one event left, really, that he could claim if he wants to travel. I mean, the kid won in everything this year, and he won Jegs in Top Dragster. Number 4, Dave Petrovsky, 282.6 events. Number 5, Scott Lukin, 282. Another tie for a position. Scott Lukin, 282 points, 5 5 events. I hope they got some good number crunches at the office in Pennsylvania, because they're obviously
really.
friggin' need it.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
All right, like I said, we'll do top sportsman and then we'll go back and do national. All right. Ready for this?
Sure.
All right. Top sportsman, NHRA Division One, in first place, Jeff Brooks, 304 points, 7 events. In second place, our buddy Frank Volpe Jr. in the Mighty Mustang, 304 points, 8 events.
Yep.
And he hit the road for 2 events, and then he banged his motor, right?
Right.
Yeah. Number 3, Ron Regal, 262 points, 8 events. Number 4, the truck. People love the truck. Robert Fortuna, 261 points and 5 events. And number 5, in the beautiful Corvette, 63 split window with that. I think that's a Lexus color, if I remember right. The Lexus bronze or whatever it's called. Brian Connery, 251 points, 7 events. All right, so click this. National. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. All right, top dragster. Waiting for it to load. The answer to your question would be no. He is in 5th place nationally.
I don't get it.
But what did I see again in national points? From top alcohol dragster?
What's that?
Second place, Jasmine Salinas, Matthew Cummings, tied. 659 points each. 9 nationals, 5 divisionals for both of them.
There's a lot of, I gotta tell you, there's more ties this year than I feel like I've ever heard of before.
Yeah, it's nuts. This is a hell of a. I'm going to click on top alcohol funny car now and see what we got here. We don't have a tie, but we have a 1-point difference between second place and third place in national points. Top alcohol funny car in second place. Sean Bellemure and our friend and Division One Hot Shoe and top alcohol funny car, of course, DJ Cox Jr. 702 points. Let's just run through this real quick and see if we see any more fun stuff. Because you know DJ made the trip. We know Matt Gill made the trip to Vegas and more than likely Pomona. And Tom Fox as well and his top alcohol dragster. Let's see. Nothing in no ties in comp. Couple of positions could get shuffled. In Superstock national points, Ryan McClanahan, second place, 647 points over Greg Stanfield, 647 points. McClanahan, 4 nationals, 8 divisionals. Stanfield, 4 nationals, 7 divisionals. I need to figure out how to do this whole points thing. Probably give me another headache.
It's actually if you go to NHRAracer.com,
yeah,
it tells you it's pretty cut and dry. I just don't remember all the, in division, out of division. I get confused with national title versus divisional division title. It just, because some of the numbers get jumbled, but
right.
It's actually pretty easy once you know all the numbers and where they belong.
Right. Looking at stock national points, chance for the double down. I think he's done it before, of course, talking about Joe Santangelo II. He is in first place, 644 points over Jimmy Hidalgo Jr., second place, 634 points. So
Cool.
almost done. We'll end it with Super Comp. Super Comp nationally, not a tie, but a 1 point difference. Sherman Adcock Jr. in second place, 549 points over James Glenn, 548 points in third place. Got a feeling the fuel companies out west are going to be loving this.
Yeah, really.
Super gas, nothing like what we've been talking about. I already looked at top dragster nationally. Let's look at top sportsman. Top sportsman. Again, not a tie, but only a 3 point difference. Second place, Vince Hoda has 527 points over third place, Lance Abbott, 524 points. So again, not a tie, but a very close.
Yeah, close race.
Yeah. So that's that. So some stuff that came out today, Pete, got to be a good boost for the sportsman stuff because he wants to try it. Of course, Tony Stewart.
Yep.
It's going to be running Rich McPhillips Top Alcohol Dragster in Vegas at the divisional.
Pretty cool.
Got to be a good boost.
Yeah, it'll definitely attract some new people. He's obviously putting a lot into the sport, so it's nice to see him compete.
Yeah. Came in like the proverbial wrecking ball, and I mean not in a bad way.
Yeah, right.
So very cool. All right. That is pretty much it, my friend.
I agree.
Yeah. So thank you to Jared for being our guest tonight. Got to talk a little IHRA stuff. Of course, like I said, Jared LEDFORD. Learn a little bit about the other side of the universe. And be interesting to see what happens next year with IHRA, WDRA, and who else knows what RA is coming.
Who else? Yeah, whoever else wants to throw their hat in the ring, right?
Yep. So I forgot that next Monday is Halloween, and I haven't missed a Halloween in 20 years, and I don't plan on starting this year. So we will be back, or I will be back on Tuesday night. Got a couple of things I'm working on. Nothing's guaranteed yet, but see what happens. And like I said, unfortunately, due to some circumstances, this is how we're going to be doing the show for a little while, probably till the end of the year.
Or if you can spare,
or if we do that other thing that we talked about, yeah, we'll get together on that this week when you have a day that isn't completely psychotic.
Good luck.
If that ever really occurs in your universe.
Yeah, I know, right?
But again, want to thank Jared for coming on and hanging out with us. There's a lot of stuff going on. You know, it's kind of a bummer that the Division I season has wrapped, but it's time to rebuild, get your stuff out quickly. Hopefully everybody can get some parts.
Yep.
Who knows? People that are waiting for parts all next year. Maybe you'll have it this winter for next season.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice, right?
Yep. In negotiations with Billy Kleinsman, we're going to do some trivia this winter. We got plenty of stuff to give away. Also, we are still going to be doing the PDs. We might put it off till after the first of the year, just so we can do it live. Because we are going to have, the holidays coming up. We're going to take a few breaks during the holidays. And that's about it. Cool. Congratulations to everybody that won at the Dutch. And if you're hitting the road, like I said, DJ Cox, Matt Gill, Tom Fox Jr., they're headed out west. Actually, Dan Casey from New England Dragways headed out there for the bracket finals in Vegas. So, and our friend Jamie Diamond is flying out Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah. he is going to be joining us post bracket finals. So lots of cool stuff going on.
Cool. You know
Yeah,
what's even cooler? Me going to take a shower and getting in bed.
yeah. Have your wife tuck you in, give you milk and cookies, and watch 5 or 10 minutes of no prep and call it a night.
This is going to be one of those weeks where the episode gets dragged out into the weekend because I can only watch about 20 minutes a night.
All right, Pete. Thank you very much. Hasta luego, everybody. Have a great
See you,
night.
my
We'll
friend.
talk to you all soon.
Take care. Have a good night.
See you. All right, like I said, if you guys are traveling this week, be safe, be careful, good luck.